What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into you guys. It is the 19th of June today, and here we are with 23 hours, 12 minutes left in the day. 105.2K is the price. We held up the low, and we still are consolidating right in this symmetrical triangle, diamond top, whatever you want to call it. I think it is a diamond top pattern. And we're waiting to break out one way or another. If we move up, that's cool. 107K, 108K probably holds us down. I doubt we get above 109K. If we are to move lower, I mean, we're basically at that point where you would expect to break out. So anything can happen. If we do break above $108,000, if we can see some prices, I would even say, let's see. Let's actually look at this a little bit better. Hold on. Right, because it's probably from this high coming down here. If we were to, yeah, probably get above about like $108,500 on a daily close, I would say we're breaking out of this diamond pattern and we're looking to go higher. Yes, absolutely. Again, diamond patterns are notorious for being for having price action that's like outside the pattern. It's one of the few patterns. It might be the only pattern that's actually known for this. But this kind of price action here, like that, right? That's kind of how I see it. A couple of blemishes here and there, and that's okay, but predominantly just perfectly looking like a diamond right there. Within this range, I would expect that we break out sooner than later, but are we going to break out to the upside or downside? That's the question, right? I'm kind of assuming at this point that we break out to the downside. We see a bottom here. Maybe it's a slightly lower low, maybe it's a slightly higher low, something like that, and then we reverse going higher. I am more accepting these days than I have been over the past like week that we could go down to about $95,000 to $93,000. It's very possible. The one thing that's holding me back from being completely convinced that we go down there is that I've heard a lot of people call for that today. I've heard a lot of people today call for that on YouTube, on X. I've heard a lot of people talk about this, and even some polls with that specific price in mind. And so that just makes me think it's less likely to happen. But the majority of people seem to think that we're more likely to go higher than lower. I mean, if we take this, let's ask Grok, where did X go? Did I delete my X part? Let's go here. I'm on the right tab, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'll just move this over. Yeah, something like that. There we go. Let's ask Grok what he thinks. Based on X chatter, would you say the average person is bullish or bearish or neutral on the directional heading of BTC? Please answer in the form, in percentage form. Let's just say that in percentage form. There we go. I should say please answer percentage form in just that. I don't need the breakdown. Bullish 60%, bearish 25%, neutral 15%. Sounds about right. Let's ask him to run the numbers. Run the numbers again and really think about it. We'll do deep search or think. Maybe we'll do deep search, yeah. Because think, he probably doesn't need to think about it. He needs to search. We'll come back to that and see what he says, but I'm sure that the numbers won't be too far off. Anyways, again, the fact that most people, or not most people, the fact that I've seen this area being called out today specifically makes me think it's less likely to happen, but what we just saw there, the majority of people are bullish still, right? If we look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is a bit neutral. I'm refreshing it because I don't think it's at a 48 anymore. I think it probably should have changed. Oh, it still is at a 48. So we're at some low points. Typically throughout this cycle, if we pull up the Fear and Greed Index here and we analyze this, typically, not always, but typically, whenever we get to the orange zone, even the red zone, especially the red zone, but the orange zone, that's whenever we have found our lows. And you can't really see it because I think that the setup on here is just, the way that it overlaps is terrible. They should have it like side by side or something like that, but whenever we were fearful here, when we were in the orange, that was the low point there back in 2023. We were at the orange points here every single time. Even though we kept going lower, they were at relative low points, right? We're at a yellow, we're in the yellow zone right now. We're not in the levels of fear yet, and I feel like that typically does indicate that we're ready to move higher once we see those levels of fear. We don't need to, right? Here we consolidated a little bit, and we still moved higher in the price. The price is the gray line. But And to be completely fair, every time that we've topped off, we have seen greed. We didn't see greed with this line. We got close, but we didn't see greed. Maybe this move has yet to top off, but I would think that a little bit lower in price makes sense for that reason. It makes sense for the reason that most people are bullish. Okay, dude, why? Why did something go wrong? Was it because I wasn't on here? Do I have to like stay on here? Is that what it is? Maybe Grok's just broken. You didn't deep search Grok. That's okay. Let's see. Bullish 55%. Okay. Bullish post 55%, bearish post 33% or 30%. So it's a little bit different, but still predominantly bullish, yeah. Um, I would anticipate that we see a little bit lower price action. I'm not expecting that we go below this low. I think that if we were to break out of this ascending trend line here, that would scare a lot of people. The bullish sentiment would flip bearish. Everybody would start to consider this range here or lower. And typically, whenever Bitcoin breaks out of these diagonal trend lines, that's actually when we find our support and then we move higher. So something that is just above this low at $100,000, probably akin to this low here at about 102, something just below here would make sense for us to go down. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and see if we can deduce anything that would make sense with that. Looking at this right now, $105.1 thousand. The MACD is actually looking good. Stochastics are looking all right. RSI is looking all right. I mean, honestly, this would actually suggest that we're moving higher. The volume looks good. We're getting volume coming up both times. No volume on the way down at all. I don't know, man. Maybe we are bullish. Maybe we don't break down. And that makes sense, though. On a 1 hour time frame, it might make sense that we move up just because of the nature of this pattern, right? We've got the higher lows and the lower highs. We might go up to that 100 and again $108,000, $107,000 area, find resistance, and then still come down. That doesn't mean we're absolved of going lower, but that might indicate that we go higher today, which would be nice. I'm all for that, right? Let's do that. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame, bullish divergence on the stochastics. Lower lows here, higher lows there, bullish divergence on the MACD too. In multiple forms. You got bullish divergence on the histogram and the oscillators here. You've got a low here, a higher low in your oscillators with a lower low in the price. No bullish divergence on the RSI, but that's fine. I mean, getting overbought and not getting oversold, forming a relative double bottom is good. So today's looking like it's going to be a good day. We should be moving up. Whether or not we break out of this range, I'm not completely convinced just yet. It is Thursday, right? So we have a couple of days left in this week. Anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. But I'm expecting we move up right around 108K, just above, just below, whatever, find some resistance. And then we'll probably move back down on Friday. I wonder what we do over the weekend. We break out over the weekend and then reverse over the next week. I don't know. At this point in time, I'm assuming today will be a good day. I'm not expecting much. I really do think that we're going to be boring going into next week. And then the final week, the end of this week, the end of the month, we should be seeing an end of month rally. I keep going back and forth on that. It's making my head spin. I can't imagine how you guys feel, but that's how it is, man. In all fairness, the price has been going back and forth too, so it's it's just kind of how it is. Ultimately, regardless of what happens, I don't care if we drop down to 95 to 93K. I don't care if we have a fake out and then a breakout higher, or we just break out higher and it stays true. Maybe we break out, that's the fake out, and we go lower and then we go higher. I don't care what the outcome is. We're bullish overall to about $170,000, $190,000, right? That's where we're looking to go to before we see our next kind of significant consolidation phase. I will admit this is more significant than I thought it would be. The fact that we've been here already, we've been in this area, you guys, since like almost a month and a half now. It's a lot longer than I would have anticipated it to be, but after that kind of a run, it makes sense, and I would expect that we continue from this low, our next high point where we see some kind of significant consolidation phase would be around 180,000. I'm saying 170 to 190, but right there around 180,000. That's my expectation. And we should, if I'm right on the timing of this should happen in July. But because we've consolidated so much longer than I anticipated, maybe this move pushes into August, and that's fine. That's fine, man. I don't care. Take longer. The longer it takes, the better our formation is, the stronger we are. The more consolidated we are. We're shaking out the weak hands, giving people who want to step in, the strong hands, the institutions, opportunities to buy and suck up the supply so that whenever that supply runs dry and it shocks the system, we will just erupt to new all-time highs. And we're on the precipice of doing that. I mean, any day now, the reality is, guys, any day now we could be at new all-time highs, right? But I don't think that I don't think that it's going to be by the end of this week. I think it'll be sometime next week, unfortunately. I was very, very confident that this would be the week that we see new all-time highs, but it could even be longer than that, right? We might not see new all-time highs till July, but regardless if it's this week, next week, 4 weeks from now, we're very, very close to seeing these levels that are at about $120,000, $140,000. I would assume, whoa, I would assume, what just happened there? That we see new all-time highs by the end of this month, and then going into July, we should be reaching for $170,000, $190,000, somewhere in that range. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. The daily MACD does not get me excited. Maybe if we can turn things around, right? The MACD, these oscillators will still come down a little bit. Maybe we could bounce off the zero. That would actually be a really good look, in all fairness. Wouldn't be bad, but we'd have to hold our ground here. We couldn't give up too much ground. Certainly, we could not go below this low. Stochastics are very indicative that we would continue to go lower. We have lower to go, right? Going in, maybe even to the end of this month, depending on how fast we get down there. But typically, the stochastics don't really range. You don't see stuff like this too typically, right? Whenever you go from the oversold zone, you hit the overbought zone. You don't stop somewhere in the middle. Sometimes that happens, but oftentimes you range between the oversold, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold, right? Oversold, overbought, oversold would be the goal, ideally before the month ends. That way we can reverse and come back up by the end of the month going into July, but we'll see. Still holding out for that end of month rally. It's just not going to be as miraculous as we're looking for. It's looking more like a beginning of July rally is what it's going to be. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.